Hey guys, welcome back. DripCoach here with Drip and Farm for Poverty, where we don't trust, we verify and operate with integrity and transparency. Today, we're diving deep into the speculative future of Bitcoin adoption by global institutions and countries and what it could mean for generations as well as control, the ultimate end game. So stay tuned as we explore how the first large nation to embrace Bitcoin could trigger a financial revolution, the historical parallels with gold, and the potential for the unprecedented opportunities. Let's get started. So first up, we're going to start and set the stage with Michael Saylor's visionary insights on the monumental shift in the global economy. And I played this clip before, but it's going to be coupled with a clip from Lawrence Lepard and Robert Breedlove, and the recent clip from former President Trump about his visions for crypto. So all this could have the underlying potential for a end game of control. So your tinfoil hat might need to be on for this, but we've seen this play out previously in history, so you don't need it on too tight. So you just need to keep an open mind, I guess you could say. So listen to the clip from Saylor first, where he talks about giving this example that Japan could do and adopting Bitcoin or buying Bitcoin.
Let's say Japan issues $1 billion of yen, buys $1 billion of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, if they're smart, they would issue $20 billion of yen, buy $20 billion of Bitcoin. When they put out the press release, Bitcoin would triple. They would have $60 billion of treasury assets appreciating at 30% a year, and they would end up with a $20 billion positive balance of payments, right? And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So that's the first step in the puzzle. So he mentioned this before, and I put this on a previous video, that it's about nation states basically putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet and using it as their store of value. And to do it, all they have to do is print their crappy fiat currency and buy Bitcoin with it. And then naturally that's going to cause a pump in the market because they do that first. Then they, like he said, put out a press release, let everybody know, hey, this is what I did. Well, then now you see that countries have adopted it and they're using it. But remember, they have an infinite money printer. So therefore, they can just continue to redo that. And then now everybody else is playing catch up, trying to do the same thing. And the cost or price of Bitcoin just continues to skyrocket.
For more videos like this. Thanks for watching and enjoy the video.
They certainly won't take my advice, but the answer is the first country that can print currency and buy Bitcoin wins. A mid-sized country.
Then he starts comparing that to a company. So like countries should be run, if they're actually run properly, should be run as a profitable business, expenses and profits and losses and all that stuff. And you want to balance that. So he goes into that explanation later on. But that sets the tone for the rest of this video, where we're going to circle back to this idea of a country basically purchasing, like he said, billions and billions of Bitcoin. And this was using Japan, which is no small country on its own right. But now we're going to jump into how this ties into the historical parallels that we've seen from history, where in Executive Order 6102, President Roosevelt signed into order that basically he had to prohibit the hoarding of gold coin, gold bullion, gold certificates within the continental United States. Basically, hoarding, by those definitions, is what we could now call hodling. So anyone that owned gold had to turn it in or risk jail time and a $10,000 fine. And that's what Lepard is talking about in this video, where he's sitting down with Robert Breedlove. Let's listen to a clip from that.
I can foresee a time in the future where, quote unquote, the dollar is failing. They're printing a lot of money. There's yield curve control. Inflation's running 15 or 20% a year. Bitcoin is at 150,000 going to 300. Gold is at 3,000 going to 5,000. And somebody down there in DC is going to say, you know what? These sound money guys, they're killing this dollar. They're killing, and this is damaging. This is a matter of friggin' national security. We got to save the dollar. We got a solution to that. We need to tax gold capital gains at 90%, tax Bitcoin capital gains at 90%. And by the way, and we're going to grab all the Bitcoin.
Over the past few years,
did what he did. Okay.
So that is kind of like the precursor to if this were to play out how it did in 1933. So what he's saying And if you're not familiar, sound money, guys, is basically the Bitcoiners. So we don't have any sound money available anymore because none of the currencies in existence globally are backed by any sound money principles. They're all just fairy dust. And sound money would be by backing your currency or by going to the Bitcoin standard or going back to the gold standard if you could. That's not possible. But anyway, so he's saying that all this noise coming from basically the Bitcoiners could be shaking the chains for those in power, like at the central banks, the Fed, things of that nature, and seeing the dollar collapse and the inflation and all the damage they're already doing and how this will continue to play out. They would decide, hey, we need to do something about this. And that's where this example of what took place in 1933 comes back.
This time targeting Bitcoin.
Let's go back to why Roosevelt did what he did, okay? We were in the Depression. It was 1933. A bunch of banks had just failed. We'd had enormous deflation. I mean, enormous. Like there's never been an event like it. Housing prices had collapsed 80%, 90%. All these banks, there was just not enough money in the system, even though they were trying to print money and push it out. Unemployment was 30%. And they knew that, and by the way, they were on the gold standard. A dollar could be exchanged for a $20 gold coin. You go into a bank and back and forth. And they knew that they needed to get out of this deflationary environment, and they knew that they were going to need to inflate. And they knew that to do so, they had to push up the price of gold. And so what Roosevelt did was he realized, and this is frankly, it's criminal behavior, and my grandfather hated him for it. He said, turn in your gold or $10,000 fine in jail. By the way, there was a lot of non-compliance.
So question is, could that happen again? And to some degree, it actually could. Now, the beauty of Bitcoin being digital, it's just a seed phrase that you can memorize and they can't make you turn that in. And you can literally get on a plane and then get back into your wallet in another favorable country and get it out. However, here's the big kicker. If it's on an exchange, they could literally confiscate it. And that exchange, because it operates in the US, Coinbase, would have to turn that over. And we've seen that already happen when there's been a bank run, quote unquote, in crypto, where they stopped the withdrawals of Bitcoin or USDT, whatever it is. Remember, that's centralized. They can do whatever the hell they want to. So would this happen? I can't say yes. I can't say no. It's definitely not a 0% chance of it not happening. And it's not a 0% chance of it happening. Wait, 100% chance of it happening, 0% chance of not happening. So it's in between. And because of that, that's what makes self-custody even more important, which brings us to the clip from former President Trump at the recent rally. In the Fed. That would be nice.
Thank you. And I will also stop Joe Biden's crusade to crush crypto. We're going to stop it. I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. And I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
Now that sounds all well and good, but how does that play into this narrative of still countries seeking control of you via your finances? Well, former President Trump just said that he wouldn't allow a central bank digital currency and he would allow self-custody. Now, that still could allow for, again, the confiscation of Bitcoin from central banks. So you have the right to self-custody just like you had the right to self-custody gold. However, a new executive order could come out, so he could still stand behind all these things. So no central bank digital currency means that they would instead do what Michael Saylor said, start printing, potentially, this is all tinfoil hat theory, right? Start printing some money, buying Bitcoin, and then saying that any Bitcoin on central banks must be held by the Fed or the Treasury or whatever new government arm they create. Why? In the sake of national security and safety, the same way they did with Executive Order 602. Because if you don't have it in your possession, then it's not yours. Just like when you go to a bank, it's not yours, you're loaning it. So technically you are, when you read the terms and conditions of Coinbase, you are loaning and giving them custody of your assets. And therefore, an executive order could come out that forces them to turn that over, while former President Trump, and if that stage it is Trump as president, is still saying that if you own it, you can keep it. So this could still play out and still be well within kind of this bullish narrative for Bitcoin. So this is still a good thing. Somebody asked me about this in my chats, and like, would I still support Bitcoin if this happened? And it's like, well, hell yeah, because any country that puts Bitcoin on their balance sheet, that's a whatever Michael Saylor said, not like El Salvador, has to be a higher tiered country. But the more countries that do, the more that inflates the value of Bitcoin. And remember, limited supply. So if you can still get a self-custody amount in your hands, you will reap the benefits. And some countries over others where that exchange rate will be better. So I still see this as a great opportunity, but it's more of just a warning to those that are not self-custody and keeping their Bitcoin on other platforms. So just be aware of that. Now, this wouldn't come overnight. You still have plenty of time. And this, of course, is still a tinfoil hat. But kind of like Lawrence Lippert's mentioned, there could be some kind of steps being taken to where the government taxes capital gains up to 90% on Bitcoin because of the devaluation of the dollar. There is no other way out right now. In order for them, they must just keep buying back their own debt and just keep, as Raoul Powell said, ringing the cowbell every 4 years. So eventually, this has to come to an end. Something has to happen. That's either going to be via a central bank digital currency or adopting Bitcoin somehow. Like the debt just doesn't go away. And without, if you read Raoul Powell's Everything Code and look at his thesis, without the demographics to bring in and stimulate the economy, then it's just a debt spiral. So something has to change. So let me know what you guys think about this. And if you found the video insightful, you know what to do. Smash that HBO special, help a brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below. And until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. And what are your thoughts on the future of Bitcoin? Do you see it becoming a global asset, or do you foresee significant government intervention and overreach? Let me know down below. See ya. Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? SPRITZ Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now